I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Serious Changes, or Serious Choices, I'm sorry. And that is because there are now 4 retrograde planets in the heavens, and they're all in succession, and by the end of this month in August, there will be 5 retrograde planets. I mean, there's going to be more. Half, in fact, 50% of all the planets by the end of the month will be going backward. And so this is a time when we, I think, are going to endure the winds of change that can be blowing with a lot of force right now, and more or less sort of pushing you toward making some serious choices. And that's because when planets are retrograde, you have to go back and redo something because it hasn't been working. And so, you know, it's pretty easy to get in a rut sometimes. And you don't even notice that you're in one until some event occurs where you have to make a serious choice. And that's about where we are now. And this serious choice that you make could lead to much happier a life for you, or greater contentment for you. And that's because you're going to get a lot of help with making a serious choice. And the reason why is there are 4 elements: fire, air, earth, and water. And today in the heavens, all 4 elements have planets in them that are trining each other. That's wonderful. That means you're going to get help making a serious choice, and that you should not hesitate to ask for good advice, because it's around. And you can go and, if you have questions, you can go and investigate matters a little bit further, and not only get good advice, you could really sort of enlarge your sphere of friendships and of activities, and that can help you make a serious choice or a change that does have to be made. Now, it can be that the choice is not really yours. In other words, what if your employer has to cut back their payroll, and so they lay off people? Well, you didn't choose not to have a job. They did. But they're trying to stay in business. Maybe they'll hire you back when things get better. But in the meantime, you're going to have to make a serious choice about some sort of a change. Well, you get a lot of help with that right now. So that's why I encourage you to consider serious changes right now. However, if I were you, I would sort of sidestep or avoid what you might call the heavy hitters. And the reason why is because they're represented by planets that are in the fixed signs right now. And there are a lot of planets in the fixed signs. And so these heavy hitters can be depicted by the fact that the Sun and Mercury are still in Leo, and they are opposing Saturn in Aquarius. And Saturn is retrograde, and Aquarius rules the future, so it's looking like some future plans will have to be changed in some way, or modified, maybe either canceled or simply cut down a little bit to fit smaller budgets. That could be possible. But these 3 planets in fixed signs, which are opposing each other, are all being squared by Mars and Uranus in Taurus, a fixed financial sign. And so those 2 planets, which are malefic planets, are squaring the Sun and Mercury in Leo. But they're also squaring Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn is the 3rd malefic planet. So since it involves Taurus, which is a fixed financial sign, the reason why I suggest that you sort of avoid the heavy hitters right now, or stay out of their way, is because there is a huge controversy going on right now among people who have very determined goals. And no one's going to change their goals. They're just going to go at it. And so there can be a huge controversy about money. And it could also be about control. You know, Leos like to be in control. But there's a lot more going on besides the planets in that sign. And then the third thing that can be controversial right now is that besides money and control, there are definitely questions about leadership and who's going to be the leader or not. And so I would avoid the heavy hitters. You have to figure out that they know what they're doing. They've caused their own problems. It's up to them to fix them. And so I would stay away from very controversial things right now that involve bigger problems than you can solve. And since you didn't cause them anyway, step back. Because there is another type of serious choice that you could make. And it is what I call a secondary or a medium serious choice. And that is because today there is a very rare thing going on in the heavens. In fact, you almost never see it. And it is that there is a rare grand cross going on among the cardinal signs. And a grand cross occurs when there is a planet in each of the 4 signs that depict one character trait. And the character traits are cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And so in the cardinal signs today, we have that Jupiter in Aries. Remember, it's retrograde, but it rules new beginnings. However, because it's retrograde, it sort of means that a new beginning has to be modified or cut down or maybe even canceled, but redone somehow. And so that's one cardinal sign. And then Venus is in Cancer. And Venus is a wonderful planet. It's very happy in Cancer, and it is direct. And then the moon is in Libra. And the moon is very happy in Libra because Libra is ruled by Venus. And so it rules getting along with people and forming partnerships. And then the 4th planet that's forming this grand cross is Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn. So we have 2 retrograde planets, Jupiter in Aries and Pluto in Capricorn. And we have 2 direct planets, Venus in Cancer and the moon in Libra. But these planets, which are excellent planets, I mean, they wouldn't hurt you at all. They're there to help you. But the problem is, in a grand cross, every planet opposes some other planet. And so in an opposition is 180 degrees. It means 2 planets are as far apart as they can possibly be. And so they have trouble connecting. You know, it's hard for them to connect. Or there's obstacles in the way. Or the timing isn't right. Something like that. And so, since these are such good planets in the cardinal signs right now, I mean, how can you argue with Jupiter or Venus or the moon or Pluto? They're there. They're very good planets, but they can't connect right now because they're all opposing some other planet. So this is a time when I really encourage you, because remember, the winds of change are blowing with a lot of force right now, and that force is supposed to be helping us make some serious choices for our happiness and contentment. I mean, for good reasons. And because so many planets are trining each other in the elements, fire, air, earth, and water, you're going to get a lot of help if you do make a serious choice. But among the cardinal signs, if you're trying to make a serious choice, I would say that, you know, pack your patience because you're going to have to sort of push a little bit and then wait and give another little push and wait. And eventually with such good planets, you will achieve some sort of, maybe not a primary choice, but it could be a secondary choice that could still bring you happiness and contentment. So the only thing you need to avoid are the heavy hitters, depicted by the 5 planets in the fixed signs, because they're involved in a sort of a do or die, life or death controversy about money, control, and leadership. You know, so I'd walk away from that. If you're not involved, stay out of it. Because I think you'd only get hurt. You really should stay away from that. But otherwise, I think that you have some wonderful choices, and you're going to get help with your choices, and that is going to lead to better contentment and happiness. So I wish you the very best. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, Jupiter is in your sign, and it is retrograde right now, indicating that there has to be some change in a new beginning that you're probably pretty excited about, but there can be some drawbacks to it right now, and you're probably having to work with those a little bit more closely. So you're one of the signs that is a cardinal sign, and so you have very good planets in a rare grand cross in the cardinal signs, but they can't connect right now. Even Jupiter can't connect with the planet opposite it, which is the moon in Libra. And so, Aries, don't be discouraged if something doesn't go according to plan right now. Because if you're versatile, maybe your plans will change. And you might like the plans better after they've been changed. Maybe they'll put you a little bit more into authority, or something where there's something that you're in control of a little bit more, and you would like that. And the reason why I suggest that you be a little patient right now is because, remember, all 4 elements have backup right now. And so the Sun and Mercury in Leo are trining that Jupiter in your sign. And so there could be something else around that could be more appealing than the new beginning you've had your heart set on, Aries. So if I were you, I would ask around. Remember, ask for good advice right now, and you can get it. And if one spectacular new beginning looks like it's falling apart for one reason or another, which could be due to budget constraints, or it just could be due to downsizing of staff, whatever. Or it could be due to the fact that you've decided to change your mind and make a better choice in the future. You could do that. So I think that actually you're going to be better off, Aries, with something else that comes along that you may like a little bit better. And the reason why you would like it a little bit better is because it gives you more control. So it may not be as big a project, but it might be very important to you that you would have greater control over how it's done. And I think that you'd really like that, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when, yes, I would describe your sign as a heavy hitter, Taurus, because you have Uranus and Mars in your sign. Now, they are conjuncting right now, indicating the possibility of dire economic news or financial news. And so, you have to be on the alert, because there is the possibility with, now, Mars has just passed Uranus. Uranus is at 19 degrees of Taurus in your sign, and Mars has now gone 1 degree ahead of that. Mars is at 20 degrees now of Taurus. They're still conjuncting, though. And these are 2 malefic planets, both of which move very fast. And the Sun and Mercury in Leo are being squared by the planets in your sign, and Saturn in Aquarius, which is also a malefic planet, is also being squared by the planets in your sign. So Taurus, you could be super strong right now and very, very determined to have your way, but you still will meet resistance. Now, it's wonderful that you have Pluto in Capricorn trining your sun, but it is retrograde, and it is one of the 4 planets in the cardinal signs that are being opposed now by some other planet, and so they can't quite get together the way they're used to doing. And so I'm not so sure that somebody in a position of power can help you as much as they've been able to help you in the past, Taurus. And that could be because they have problems of their own. And so, you know, they're a little bogged down with their problems too. Your sign is very strong right now. But there can be such a thing as being too strong. Because a Taurus is a very hard worker. And Taurus, that's important to you, that you achieve things, that you're well paid, that you make your investments grow. And you know, it's a little tough to do that right now with so much controversy among the fixed signs. And so I think that Taurus, before you decide to exercise that muscle that you do have right now, I would hope that you would be a little bit more far-reaching or far-seeing. In other words, instead of thinking of whatever problem that you're looking at the moment, try to think down the road a little bit about, just ask yourself, okay, well, after this problem gets over, where do I want to be? Or where do I want to go? Or what do I want to get out of it? And try to think a little bit more about the end result than the mess that's occurring right now. And so try to remove yourself from controversy if you can, Taurus. I actually don't think that you can remove yourself because there are other people that are being very combative right now. It's just that they say that you should choose your moments. And this may not be a good moment for you, Taurus. Not because anybody can defeat you, but because, you know, it's like banging your head against a brick wall. There are some things that are worth fighting about, and there are other things that aren't worth it, and you should just turn your back on them. Maybe that's what it's like for you right now. Maybe you have to be looking more long range and not get embroiled in the controversy around you right now. I don't think you'll get, I don't think that you'll get beaten, but you could get a little beaten up if you persist too hard right now. So I suggest that you don't do that. Think of how to win in the long run. Because that's what you're really, that would really be rewarding for you. Much more than just winning. You know, it's the difference between winning the battle and winning the war. Well, think about winning the war. That's long range. But it's worth it. So try to exercise caution if you can, Taurus, in order not to get too beaten up yourself. Safety first. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time when I think that you can be helped just the way everybody can be helped in making a serious choice by the fact that there are planets in every single element that are trining each other. And that's really helping you because you haven't had a planet in your sign for a while. And Mars is coming in on August 20th, and that'll stir you up a lot, Gemini, clear till next spring. But for right now, you can benefit from the fact that, first of all, Saturn, which is retrograde in Aquarius, is trining your sun, as it has been. And also, the moon today in Libra is also trining your sun, Gemini. That's very nice for you because you could meet a nice partner, or you could make a potential partnership. That's what Libra rules, partnership. Or you could be the mediator, which is a good role for a Gemini between other sources, is you could be the mediator in settling a controversy, or it can be that you may want to bring different entities together, maybe to form some new sort of a group or partnership or consortium. And Gemini, you're in a perfect position to be able to do that. Plus, Gemini is known for being sort of a deal maker, or a middleman, or an agent, and able to bring people together. Even if it's only for a short-term project, it could be very successful for you, Gemini. So I encourage you to ask for good advice and to realize that you could make a choice right now, a serious choice that could bring you more contentment and happiness. So I hope you consider that, because it looks like you've got a green light on that. So I would sort of go in that direction if I were you. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time, since yours is a cardinal sign, when you may want to concentrate a little harder on some sort of medium serious choice or secondary serious choice that hasn't really gelled yet. So you've got to sort of give it another little push, and then another little push, and then another little push, until you accomplish your goal. And the reason why is because your Venus in your sign is caught up in this grand cross among very good planets in the cardinal signs. And that means that they are all being opposed by some other planet, and so they can't connect too well on their own. Well, Cancer, maybe in your own quiet way you could help people along, and it might be in the background, but you could still do it. And that is because Neptune in Pisces is trining Venus in your own sign. And that means that you may know people behind the scenes that could probably pull a few strings for you or help you in some way. And that would be good, because it may involve a real estate transaction or something to do with your home, or it could have something to do with the family in one way or another, or simply enjoying summer fun and easier accommodations. In other words, you may have guests for the summer. Well, you could accommodate them, or and that would be nice. So, you know, Venus is a charming planet, and it's in your sign. And so if I were you, even if you have to exercise your charm sort of over and over again until things connect, I would suggest that you do that. And also, you're going to have the ability to get help or have help from behind the scenes that can eventually help you make a serious choice that would bring you more happiness and contentment. And that would make a Cancer very happy. So go to it, Cancer. And remember what I said, stay away from those heavy hitters. Whatever they're doing, they brought on themselves, and it's up to them to solve it. You don't have to get involved. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you are going to be involved in some sort of controversy that involves money and a question of control and of leadership. And that is because, first of all, your sign rules leadership. And you have the Sun and Mercury in your sign, and they're beautifully trined by Jupiter in Aries, which means, since Jupiter is retrograde, that there is a new beginning that's going to have to be redone a little bit, possibly even canceled. It might be due to budget cuts, but it'll have to be redone in some way. But still, it could help bring you more contentment and happiness in the long run if it gave you a sense of control in one way or another. Control is very important to a Leo. Almost too important, because it's so important to a Leo that they don't realize that other people can resent them for that. And Leos like to be loved and popular with everybody. I mean, they like to be the life of the party. So you have to be a little bit careful, Leo, with what you're doing right now, because the fixed signs are very harshly aspected. So that Sun and Mercury in your sign, even though it's being supported by Jupiter in Aries, it is being opposed by a malefic planet, Saturn, which is retrograde in Aquarius, which means your future plans are going to have to be reorganized somehow or restructured in some way. You better expect that, Leo, because that's going to happen. And then Mars and Saturn in Taurus are squaring the Sun and Mercury in your sign. So it seems that you could probably make headway as you sort of stress your personality and, you know, try to convince people of your leadership ability, which you do have. And yet it's going to be a question of money and a question of control. And it really will be a question of leadership. And you could say, well, I know I'm a good leader. Okay, so you don't have any questions about it. But the people you're interacting with and the people that control the money, they have ideas of their own. And that's what you're going to run into, is a conflict of ideas. And I would say it would be probably better at this time, since all three malefic planets are squaring and opposing your sun sign. I don't see you as winning an argument right now, Leo. And so if you were gracious enough to say, well, okay, I don't need to do all of this, but what do you think about me just doing part of it? You know, something where you're drawing and asking other people for their opinions and also trying to sort of create a little niche for yourself. I think you could do that if you were very diplomatic right now, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, excuse me, this is a time when you are still being very protected, just like Capricorn is, by the fact that Mars and Saturn in Taurus trine your sun, Virgo, which means actually your investments should be doing okay. That's amazing, because this is not a strong economic climate right now. And that is worldwide. That's not just our economy. But they don't seem to, you know, I don't think that your investments are particularly being hurt right now. Virgos are very good accountants, and also Virgo rules banking. And so, Virgo, you may have seen the storm clouds gathering financially this year, and you may have decided to secure the safety of your investments a little bit more, figuring that safety was better than high gains this year. You would have been right about that too, because we still have to get through the rest of the summer and all of the winter, which will be cold. And, you know, that's going to have a lot of problems connected with it, that it's going to be a cold winter. And so, Virgo, I think that you've got this protection of knowing that you're financially secure yourself, which is good. And then that can bring you happiness and contentment, because Pluto in Capricorn is also trining your sun. You have 3 strong planets in earth signs all trining your sun. And they've been that way for a while. And they'll stay that way until August 20th. And then only one moves on, Mars. But Uranus and Pluto, they stay trining your sun until 2025, when they both move on just about at the same time. So you're under this little protection umbrella, Virgo, and you should be content with that. Virgos are modest. It rules modesty. And so they're terribly talented, but they don't exactly toot their own horn. They're not after the applause. They get a lot of satisfaction out of doing something right. That's, you know, making sure that it all adds up. That's real important to a Virgo. And so I would say, Virgo, that you're sort of doing okay right now, and that You do have some protection and safety, and as long as you stay away from those heavy hitters, because Virgos are good problem solvers. Somebody could come along and want to sort of suck you into their controversy by saying, well, what do you think? What is your opinion? Oh, can you help me? Well, Virgo, this is one time when you need to say no. Stay away from the heavy hitters. They made their own problems. They're in a do or die situation, or they have an attitude of all or nothing. That isn't the way you operate at all. So stay away from that, and just be content with what you're doing, which is just fine. You are doing just fine. I just wouldn't tell anybody about that though, Virgo, because not everybody's doing quite as well as you are. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, the moon is in your sign today, and the moon loves being in your sign because your sign is ruled by Venus. And so the moon rules our emotions, and it rules women, and there is the possibility that either you or a woman friend of yours can get along really well, or you can form a new partnership with a woman that would be mutually beneficial to both of you. That would be nice. And so that could work out, particularly if you want to restructure your future plans in some way, because Saturn is in Aquarius. It's retrograde, but it's also trining your sun where you have the moon. And when Saturn and the moon trine each other, that is a indication that parents are agreeing about something. They're in agreement about something. And it may have something to do with a partnership agreement in one way or another. So or some sort of peaceful settlement. So I think that you could be pretty happy with that. Remember, the winds of change are blowing with a lot of force right now, since there are 4 retrograde planets, and there will be a 5th one by the end of August. I mean, it's not going to get, the influence is not going to get less, it's going to get more. And so, you know, we have got to make some changes, and we have to make some serious choices. And they involve our happiness and our contentment. It's all a question of happiness and contentment. And you will get help from people. All you need to do is say to yourself, well, what makes me happy and content? And then go for that, Libra. Because a lot of people are going to be able to achieve that by getting good advice or help from others. And so you will be too able to do that. So good luck, because something that had been sort of stagnant or on hold, maybe even for a long time, is just about over. In fact, it's over. It's going to be over sooner than you think, Libra. You know, you could be thinking, well, I think I'll make a change in a month or two. It's going to get made, and you will be affected by it much sooner than you think. But it's still going to lead to your happiness and contentment. It's just that I would perk up a little bit, Libra, because I think it's headed your way a little quicker than you think. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, yours is the only fixed sign that doesn't have a planet in it. But since there is such controversy in the fixed signs, where the heavy hitters are, you know, because fixed signs don't budge. Yours doesn't either, Scorpio. But there isn't anything in your sign. And so the Sun and Mercury and Leo are squaring your sign. That Saturn, which is a malefic planet and is retrograde in Aquarius, which means future plans have to be restructured, is squaring your sun sign. And then the big one is that, since yours is a financial sign, that Mars and Uranus, which are conjuncting in Taurus, are opposing your sun sign. So not every investment is working out as favorably as you would like, Scorpio. And in fact, there can be some situation where, because you have chosen safety first this year, which was wise of you, You may not be making the kind of money that you had been anticipating. And so you have sacrificed, in the name of safety, some profit in order to make sure things were safe. And I think that was wise of you, because even if there isn't a planet in your sign, it is getting sucked on all sides by 5 other planets, which represent the heavy hitters. And you know, they would love to get you in their sights, Scorpio. They would love to make a punching bag out of you. And you know, you got a duck. And the reason why is there's nothing in your sign. It's like you didn't do anything. But there's just a whole lot of controversy that can be headed your way. And so remember, just like a lot of other people, I urge you, Scorpio, to really sidestep or avoid the heavy hitters. The people that have a sad tale of woe, that are just sort of got their hand out and want some more money. Oh, you gotta be too busy to listen to that now. Or else if I were you, I'd leave town. Or go somewhere else. Or stay home and unplug the phone. Or, you know, don't answer your email. Something where you can be a little bit more secluded and able to do your own thinking. And the reason why you should do that is because, remember, every element has planets in it that are trining it, and so can help you make a serious choice for greater happiness and contentment. And that's exactly what's happening to you, Scorpio, and that's what you should be concentrating on, because Venus in Cancer is trining your sun, and so is Neptune in Pisces. And so I think with Neptune being retrograde, there could be some dreams that you've had in your life that have not exactly turned to ashes, but they didn't turn out the way you thought they would. And so, you know, you really need to lighten up and let go of those, Scorpio, because there are other dreams ahead of you. And, you know, there are people from behind the scenes that are willing to help you out now. Help you be happier at home. Help you be happier or more content with your relationships with your family and your friends. Now, you're in a very good position, Scorpio, believe it or not, to be greatly loved. Venus is the planet of love. It's trining your sun. And it has been for a while. And Neptune it's in Pisces, it still rules dreams. Okay, so some old dreams haven't worked, and you need to be making some serious choices about some new dreams, because those can work and you'll get help from them, because Venus is trining Neptune. So what I'm saying is really stay away from the heavy hitters. It doesn't matter how tough you are, or it doesn't matter how smart you are. It's how much does your peace of mind matter to you. So don't sacrifice it. It's what gives you contentment. And it's what allows you to be creative. And it allows you to get rest. And it allows you to heal. So that's enough to concentrate on, Scorpio. Say goodbye to the heavy hitters. They don't belong in your future. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time when you can be pretty focused on something that could be a new beginning, even if it does have to change. Okay, even if it morphs into something else that you hadn't quite envisioned, but still it had potential. You would like that, Sagittarius, because Jupiter in Aries, which rules new beginnings, is trining your sun. It's retrograde, meaning that you've got to do over a new beginning. You've got to change it somehow, or change the focus, or get it to fit a little bit better in your future plans. But you can do that. And then Mercury and the Sun in Leo are also trining your Sun. You have 3 planets in fire signs all trining your Sun, Sagittarius. You're in a better position to move forward intelligently. In fact, very intelligently, if you want to. In fact, you could surprise a few people right now by your depth of knowledge. And if you share that with some people, that would impress them. And also, it would more or less validate the suggestions that you want to make, or the new beginning that you want to try. And so I think you can be successful. Everybody can be more successful in making a serious choice right now that leads to greater happiness and contentment, because every single element has planets that are trining each other, meaning that they're helping you. And that's why you should not be afraid to ask for good advice, Sagittarius. In a way, although you may not think of yourself this way, other people are starting to think that you're sort of a hot property. And that I think they're not saying anything right now about that, but they've perked up. They've noticed that you're pretty intelligent. And so I think that if I were you, I would go ahead and let people know what you're thinking. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So go to it. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, since yours is a cardinal sign, that even if you're just making a softer, sort of secondary, serious choice, you're going to have to keep at it. Keep trying it. Just go a little bit at a time, and then a little bit more and a little bit more until things connect. Because in a grand cross, in the cardinal signs, which is very rare, but which we're having today, every planet opposes some other planet. And so Pluto in your sign, Capricorn, is opposing Venus in Cancer. And it's also squaring Jupiter in Aries, and it's also squaring the moon in Libra today. So these planets can't quite connect, but they're such good planets. That's why I urge you, Capricorn, even if you have to just take a little step at a time and sort of keep trying to connect, I would say do not give up. Now, Capricorn rules persistence. They tend not to give up. That's not their character. So you can achieve some sort of easier or secondary serious choice that you have in mind if you just sort of go at it one little step at a time until something clicks, which it will. It will. I mean, these planets move. That's what makes a grand cross so rare. It hardly ever happens that you get all 4 planets in that position. So they'll change, and if you just keep, trying to connect toward a serious choice of yours, not a do or die choice, but something you really want, I think that you can persevere and get it. So give it a try. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when I would say that Aquarius, you're sort of caught in this web that has been brought on by a controversy among planets in the fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign, that is leading to really do or die questions about money, about control, and about leadership. And you have Saturn, which is retrograde in your sign. It is opposing the Sun and Mercury in Leo, and it is being squared, since Saturn is a malefic planet, it's being squared by the other 2 malefic planets, Uranus and Mars, which are conjuncting in Taurus. It is possible that you are having some financial problems right now, Aquarius. Now, I don't mean that you're broke. What I mean is you could have financial problems concerning taxes or credit terms or higher interest rates on a mortgage or a car loan, something like that. So it's not that you're broke, but, you know, inflation's not going down, it's going up somehow. And, you know, every time you go to the grocery store, whatever you bought last week is higher priced this week. And nobody says there's price gouging. Who is kidding themselves? There is. But I think everybody's trying to make up for the losses they had during the pandemic. And so they're trying to do that. And you can't blame them too much. Everybody suffered through the really, the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing as far as making policy goes. So kids didn't get an education. A lot of people lost their jobs. Nerves were frayed and frazzled, particularly among women who were trying to teach their kids and do the teacher's job. At the same time, they were at home trying to do their real job. And, you know, people reach a breaking point when there's too much pressure on them. And things just, policies kept getting made. Nobody questioned them. And so we're paying for that now. And you may be a victim of that. And the reason why is that yours is a fixed sign. And so you just have to understand that your future plans are probably subject to some sort of serious choice that you're going to have to make that you never considered making before. And that's because it wasn't on your radar. It could be that the banks or the tax man are making demands that you never dreamed of. And you're stuck with that. So I think that it's good that there is a trine among planets in every element. And for right now, Aquarius, the moon in Libra is trining your sun where you have Saturn. And so I think that, you know, if you wanted to, if there was somebody that you needed to go to for help, I would suggest that you go to an old trusted friend who is a woman, or somebody who would be a good partner. You know, in other words, maybe you can't afford all the demands that are being made on you right now, but if you took a partner, together the two of you could probably handle some big problems. And so you might consider that, Aquarius. It's a good time for you to get at least the good advice of a partner that would lead to greater happiness and contentment for you. It's worth a try. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when I think that Pisces, you can be blessed by still having Venus in Cancer trining your sun, where you have Neptune, but it's retrograde. And so these retrograde planets, 4 of them now, and a 5th one coming up by the end of the month, are an indication that we have to go back and we have to make some serious choices. And if you do not feel that you have enough information to sort of weigh and balance and help you make a decision now, it can be that if you just sort of, if you stay home a little bit more, or you're around familiar things that you do, it can sort of relax your mind, and then you might come up with some answers, as long as you're not putting yourself under too much pressure. And you don't need to, not with Venus trining your sun. Venus is a wonderful planet, but it's never going to put you under pressure. And it's in Cancer, sign of the home. And so you know, if you have to do anything, you should sort of go home and stay with family and get good advice from people. And even start thinking about a new dream of yours. Instead of drawing on your past history, which may have a few broken dreams in it, really put those aside and concentrate on the possibilities of what is in front of you. Because we go forward, Pisces. We're not made to go backward. We're made to go forward. And so I think that you can do that now. And that you can get help. And that the answers will come as long as you sort of take it easy on yourself a little bit. I hope you give that a try. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org, or you and your friends can subscribe to the show on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel. So, I hope you do that too, and I'll see you next week. Bye.